Recording in progress.
Excuse me, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Sorry. We'll get started here tonight, and before we go any further, I will just let everybody know that pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20, I'm informing everyone that a video and audio recording is being made of this meeting, so you have been informed. And with that, our first order of business is we have the open session minutes of September 2nd and September 9th here in front of us. If either of you would like to make a motion or any amendments.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion that we approve the minutes of this regular select board meeting in September 2nd.
I'll second that.
September 2nd. If there's no further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Can we move the ones September 9th
Sure,
as
Mr.
well?
Chairman. I would be happy to move the minutes of September 9th, 2025, which was a joint meeting between the school committee and the Board of Selectmen, or the Select Board.
I'll second that.
And if there's no further discussion, hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Our next order of business is public comment, and this is the time for anybody who would like to make a comment. Please come forward. And I don't see anybody in the room or on Zoom coming forward, so I will move into general business, of which our first discussion is of a potential dog park. And I think you both can see the graphic we have, and this came up at a Parks and Rec Committee meeting, actually, where there may, and Chris, you might have new information that I haven't had since we met with some individuals who would like to donate some money, potentially. Not sure how much it's going to cost yet, or how much funds are available that they might be able to donate, but we were taking a look at potentially transforming part of the Eastleigh playground to a dog park, because it has some fencing already, and last we discussed the softball field isn't being used there.
Yeah,
Correct.
so I mean, there was a bunch of locations that came up, and I know we have some people from Wildcat Sports Group tonight, so I'm guessing you may have some comments. It was not in the application when we looked at it that the sports group had requested that.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, this is just a preliminary discussion. We did, I guess, play some phone tag. I don't think we ever connected with you, Simon, about that afterwards, but we did reach out and we didn't get to talk, but it was not on the application. That being said, it's just a discussion. If it is an issue, this is what we're here to talk about. So, but it was brought of a potential donor in memory of a resident of Lee, and that was looked at. A number of parks were looked at. I think all of the others had been listed as having some type of use. That one hadn't, so that's why that one was brought up. There are other options, but that was one that,
Yeah.
being that the board makes all decisions on town land, and Sean, I think you were at that meeting too. The idea was just to kind of broach the subject, see what interest there would be before going further, so.
Do either of you want to speak?
I would
before
just
we
have
get
a
to-
couple questions,
Yeah, go
and
ahead.
I'm glad that this is preliminary.
Yeah.
Because the sketch that we have is incredibly rudimentary. So it'd be great if we had somebody from Parks and Recs or a better defined area so that we can talk about it, because the way this looks now, I can't tell why they kind of split it into maybe 2/3 and 1/3.
Well, I think we can
And,
speak to that a little bit, Chris, if you would
it's
like.
well, I'm just wondering where, and then also about reaching out to others in that area. Obviously this is just a first-time discussion, but I think we need to involve the groups who have used it in the past, and also the neighbors. I think we should, find out from the neighborhood, maybe get this publicized a little better for a better informal meeting, maybe include the Parks and Recs group with us or without us, whichever, you know, that we need
Sean's
more.
on that, I think,
Oh,
just
okay.
as a clarification,
Okay,
that's
yeah,
why,
good,
yeah.
okay.
I think, I don't want to speak for you, Sean,
No,
but I
yeah,
think
sure.
you were to represent, yeah.
Yeah.
Why there's someone
Yeah.
else didn't come, but, yeah.
Hopefully
And
somebody else
to-
has something to say.
To kind of answer just your questions before we
Yeah,
before we
please.
go any further, Gordon, we had spoke about this location being, fitting for a lot of what the needs of a dog park would be, and the reason why we kind of drew a line there a third of the way in, because we didn't want to disrupt the small playground
Yeah.
and the basketball court that was there.
Okay.
The back part of this lot is about an acre, I think, was what we were kind of looking at, which is actually on the larger end of dog parks that we were that we did research from. Or maybe it was in the vicinity of like an average dog park with some going bigger, but, seemed like a potential, spot where we can improve the area and add something that the community's been wanting, without, spending taxpayer dollars. But Bob, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Well, just that, now that the subject of a dog park has been raised, I've had people for years ask me, why don't we have one? When can we, where could we put one? When can we get one? That sort of thing. So we're not locked into this site.
No.
But again, as you say, there are factors like how many improvements have to be made, water, for example.
That's what I was gonna ask, yeah.
And I don't know if there's water on this site or whatever. I would think that would be essential. But, so it's just an open discussion, but I'm just glad that that we're moving that conversation about a dog park forward.
Yeah, and to our knowledge, this park wasn't in use, but you guys may be looking to use it. I actually went there today with my dog just to walk it because I knew we were gonna have this, discussion. But, the backstop was falling over from the old, I think it was a softball field, right?
Yeah, it was.
So there needs to be some improvement, but if you guys have something to say at this time, I'd be happy to hear it, because we don't want to interfere with anything, if we're gonna do something like this somewhere in town, we don't wanna interfere with other programs that go on in town.
No,
So
I
please,
Yeah.
get that, and, I appreciate that. And I wrote down my notes, but I'll just interject initially was with, when I saw it, my alarm bells go ringing, for
Yeah.
obviously the points that you raised, Sean. And again, in terms of, being reached out to, my email and everything is there to be reached. It was.
Yeah, we did reach out, you should, in your phone number. Bob.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't hear back, but.
Yeah.
I never had anything, but again, that's.
Simon, can you gotta introduce yourself, because our record keeper is in
No,
here.
I will,
Yeah.
so I'll go through
Just-
it.
just
So
as-
I'll bang this out.
Just as a point of order.
All right, good evening all, my name is Simon W. Borrett, and I'm the president and founder of Wildcat Sports Group, a non-profit sports organisation with the Children in the League that began operations in January 2024. Since the inception and creation of the concept behind WSG, it's been our goal to promote and facilitate youth sports to as many children as possible. Since the start of our first softball programme, we have offered nearly 500 roster and clinic spots to the youth in town and its surrounding communities. WSG currently offers soccer, softball and baseball, and at this time both our softball and baseball programs have utilised these league ball fields, predominantly in the spring, however also when we need additional space for training and clinics. In the spring of 2025, a minimum of 49 children train there at some point during the week. The need for fields is paramount to the success of any youth sports organisation, even more so with one that runs and operates several sports. For schooling conflicts, weather delays and or coaching volunteer conflicts, we aim to never impact a child's opportunity to play and complete the athletic schedules that we promised them during the season. This fall, following a successful spring season, both softball and baseball offered a fall programme. Based on the current numbers, we have managed to put together 3 teams and over 50 children participating in these sports. Our need for access to the Eastleigh field for the fall wasn't necessary. However, as these numbers grow, much like our spring and summer numbers have, in each year of operation, there will come a time when additional fields in the fall will be needed. With that being said, let me go on record and say I'm not opposed to a dog park in Lee. What I'm opposed to is the fact that we will lose another area of the town where its youth and the families that live here will ultimately see the demise of a youth-centric piece of property. Approximately 28.9% of households in Massachusetts own a dog, according to a report in 2020 from Paul C. Advisor. I couldn't find the exact numbers on either Berkshire County or Lee's dog ownership due to the limited amount of time I had to prep for this meeting, and obviously not being aware that this was going to kick off. As a town, we've seen a negative growth in a declining population of approximately 9.08% since the census of 2020. Our median age of residents sits somewhere in the mid-60s, and if the select board would be to support the idea of removing youth-centric land in favour of a dog park, in all likelihood we would only see our median age increase. A young family who may even own a dog would look for education, crime rates, access to work, and probably what the town would offer its youth, far above the fact that we have a dog park as a reason to move here. In a 2025 study by Contour Mortgage discussing reasons for family relocating to another area, the second reason listed was regarding raising a family, the school districts available, and youth opportunities. So again, if this board is tasked with the growth and protection of this town's assets and residents, it potentially would not be in its, I feel it potentially would not be in its best interest to remove the ball field at East Lee. So I would ask the select board to consider the needs of the youth once more. Please take into account the impact that WSG has made in such a small amount of time and the positive things we have brought to this community. Again, the idea of a dog park is fine by me, just not at the expense of an area that offers our youth the opportunity to learn many social and personal skills through playing sports. I know, Gordon, you asked several questions.
Yep.
My concern then, outside of the sports piece, becomes very clear. Insurance and liability. A 2020 report noted over 1,000 dog bite incidents required medical attention in Massachusetts, with about 20% leading to hospitalization. Would a person's house insurance cover any incident that would occur on the town property? Tom Davis, dog trainer, dog behaviourist and YouTuber, who's nationally known, stated that it isn't if your dog will have an incident at a dog park, but when they will have one. How would we govern and make sure that this park was safe for all? For want of a better term, who would regulate the park? Make sure that dogs were vaccinated and ensure that they were disease-free and behaviourally prepared to enable to go to a park and interact with others. Dog parks obviously offer socialisations for some dogs, but do pose risks, as behaviours like fear, aggression, or overwhelmed states can lead to fights and conflicts, often arise from mismatched play styles or resource guarding. Are we prepared to monitor situations that may arise in the park? And then obviously the cleaning of the park. Who would maintain and clean the environment? Because let's not be naive here, not everyone is going to pick up poop. I was down at the soccer field today, and that's the first thing I saw as I got out of my car. A study guide I found online, which was put together to discuss the building of a dog park, really on 3 important points that I found for a successful park. These should be part of the decision-making process in terms of designing and building a dog park. Here are the 3 main factors. Choosing the right location. An ideal spot is accessible to many restaurants, including those near apartment complexes. It should be located away from busy roads, playgrounds, and sensitive wildlife areas. Also considering using an underutilised parcel of land with slopes and terrains. Design separate areas to ensure a safe environment for all dogs. Create separate, securely fenced sections for large and small dogs. An entry zone with a double gated system prevents dogs from escaping during entry and exit. And obviously select safe surfacing, avoiding the use of natural grass, which is easily destroyed by heavy foot traffic and urine. Better options that have been recommended are decomposed granite, dog-friendly artificial turf, or even engineered wood fibres. And obviously proper drainage is always essential to prevent mud and odours. Ultimately, based on the findings above, a dog park should be designed for stimulation rather than containment. A basic flat field may be suitable for some purposes, but an enriched environment with varied terrain, equipment and dedicated zones provides a far more complete experience for a wider range of dogs and owners, with a multitude of different stimuli, not just for other dogs. A good design, however, must be paired with clear rules and responsible ownership to be successful. Thank you for your time as always, gentlemen.
So you did this on short notice.
That
So,
was pretty, I was thinking
I
the
bet you were
same.
one of those kids everybody called
Pretty well
to write their
researched.
term papers and stuff when it was due in 2 days.
No, yeah, probably. I mean, you
No, it's
guys
good,
know,
you did a great job.
thank
Yeah.
you. You guys know my background.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You know, I'm not a resident of the league, but what I am doing for this community is more than people in the town do. So for me, knowing what we've become and where we are heading and what we've accomplished to date so far, I will defend.
yeah, and that's, Simon, to that point, I mean, that's why we contacted you, to say like,
Yeah.
hey, look, because this is first thought, hey, that seems like a good spot that could work. Is it being used?
Yeah.
Maybe, maybe not, we don't know, so that's why we got in touch with you.
Yeah.
It may be as simple
And
as
again,
just, it
I
may
don't
be,
want to hang on and get in touch with it because I have no, if you can prove a phone record, I would stand by it. But we don't need to be at that point, that's what I'm saying.
I'm making the point of just like, if it's as simple as you guys are using that, we may just have to find another location,
Yeah.
and that's fine, it's, you know, and we're happy to work with Wildcat Sports Group, because you guys are doing a great job, so it's not, you know, I don't
So yeah,
think,
my short-term paper, I appreciate listening to, but
This was just to get feedback back to the new,
Yeah.
there's a brand new Parks and Rec Commission. This was one of the first things that
Yeah.
was put before them, and they wanted to get feedback from the board. We can't do that without doing it in open session,
Right.
so.
but I would also think that you would want to become intimately involved with the Parks and Recs Commission, since you're using all the recs, you know,
Absolutely.
the parks and stuff, so
it's
now that we
it's
have
a
one.
new committee too,
Yeah,
so we
now
just
that we have
started,
one.
but it would be
Thursday,
good,
5 p.m.
yeah.
Yeah, just be there, be square, as they say.
I will.
Okay.
So
good.
again, thank you for your
Yeah.
time.
Very
That's
good.
my cent and a half.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, and the questions and concerns that you raised, I think some of them we've already kind of talked about, just to like get them out there, because I think it potentially does, it could create issues.
And the backstop as well, that tree came down this year.
Oh, it did come down.
Because we put a brand new scoreboard, you know, they took down the old scoreboard, we put the new fences in.
Tree
and
came down on
It was
it.
just all replaced. So that tree,
looked like-
the dead one,
Right.
came across and took.
It looked like the fence just needed to be re-stretched over to the post, was really all it looked like,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, that was a dead tree.
Yeah, all right,
But thank you again.
Very good.
thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming in.
Does anybody else like,
Yeah.
anybody else
Yeah.
want to add anything online or? Okay,
Oh, yeah, hold on, you can't hear you, Kathy.
yeah,
Can you hear me?
yeah, we can hear you now, go ahead. Introduce yourself, please.
I'm Kathy Hall. I was at a meeting many months ago with both Simon and two representatives of the people that wanted the dog park and at the Eastleigh Playground. And Simon did express his concern for the softball field. So I'm glad this is coming up to your attention so that we certainly can try to get a dog park, but Eastleigh might not be the best place for the reasons that Simon has pointed out to you. So that's all I have to say on that. But now I'm going to ask your indulgence. I couldn't get my computer where I needed to get public comment. Can I please do the public comment?
Can I come back to you at the end, Kathy? Because we can just, I'd like to keep this
Yes,
discussion going if there's anything further.
Okay, I have to manually move the cursor, so.
I understand, yeah, well, I'll come back to you
It's fine.
before we
I'm
finish.
gonna try to get my mugshot off the thing first. Okay, but I'll keep unmuted.
Okay,
Thank you.
And as you had said, Simon, I think we're gonna discuss this again on Thursday in our Parks and Rec committee meeting, so we may just, find that, hey, there's gotta be another location, so.
Yeah, and the committee is very new, and I'm not on it, I was at the meeting because it was so new, but I know that was the first question that came up, is it being used, and it wasn't on there, so that was why they were exploring, you know, that had come up. But it was a very, very preliminary, sort of like, before we put any more time in, let's bring this out, you know, so.
For sure.
Not to try to step on anyone's toes.
No, I understand.
It's-
I'm happy, like I said, Sean,
Yeah,
pop down if you would like me to be there on Thursday.
you're very welcome to come, so, yeah, so it sounds like this may be, a little premature, but we'll have to revisit this. If you guys have any ideas for a location, let
I know
the
we've
Parks
been asked
and
about Stockbridge
Rec-
Road, we've been asked about a number
So-
of other areas too in the past. We've just kind of always passed on all of them.
one of the big reasons that this location was being explored was because of parking. It sort of already has some space available to sort of come and go. And, you know, an area like Stockbridge Road would be great, but we'd have that we'd have that additional cost of like actually accessing that area. So those are some of the considerations that landed us here, but we'll have to just keep.
Yeah, it was
Keep going.
the only one that wasn't on that list, so it wasn't, Wildcat Sports Group wasn't overlooked.
Yeah, yeah.
It was the first thing they looked at, so, yeah.
Bob?
I wonder if there's a way, I would guess there's a way that we could look up, there must be some protocols for building a dog park.
Yes.
And the
Right.
associated costs. And, you know, if you're talking about water, fencing, there may be other things that I don't know about. Maybe we could look into that so we could sort of plug that into various locations.
Yeah.
Well, I know that Egremont has a very successful dog park. Let's reach out to another town that's got a good program going.
Yeah.
And that's
As a
all
start.
come up in that
Yeah.
meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Like another thing that Simon had mentioned that, you know, we didn't sort of, nail down, but the idea of small dog, you know, an area for smaller dogs
Yeah.
versus bigger dogs, that's all sort of, part and parcel to this, and just, hashing that out, how that exactly all fits. Whether or not there's enough, it would be great to have those, a couple of, I forget what those are called, the agility, you know, type stuff for dogs to play around with. That's like, this is again, very, very initial discussion here, so.
You know, we could also think about reaching out. There are a number of doggy day camp kind of things around right on Route 102. There's Camp Wagalot in Stockbridge. There's, you know, I know there's a number of them who already maybe have it down for how to deal with small dogs versus big dogs and how to interact and how to, the initial meetings, all that. So it might be nice, you know, if the rec committee wanted to look out to them, once you get to design issues.
Yeah.
They may have a pretty good grip on
It's a great idea.
some of those odd things that you run into. I'm sure they've seen it all. So, I don't have anything
Okay.
more.
Anything further on the dog park? Anybody? No. Good. We'll talk more later. Moving on to our next order of business, we have a discussion of Lee Elementary School tree planting at the Stockbridge, potentially Stockbridge Road land. This would be, I don't know, do you want to, Norbert, I know this is something that he's been in development with, so if you'd like to come forward and introduce yourself and let us know what your, he's got his tree hat on.
Gotta love it.
Let us know what this is all about,
Yes.
please.
Well, thanks for the opportunity to show up and to present this idea. Teaching the kids the needs of the trees. That's the main thing, that's the focus. With support from Mike Richard, the principal from the elementary school. He's very excited about this idea. He would like to put this education topic into the curriculum for the kids. Focused for the fifth grader, yearly plant event, planting trees on a property owned by the town of Lee. The size for 900 square feet every year, in the next couple of years and decades, as a repeatedly education topic. We talk about an acre. I'm happy that I saw there was already an address in this agenda for today. Chris, Richard and I, we had previously a meeting and we talked about the potential usage in the future, what can be discussed in the future, what happens to the trees which get be planted by the kids. I'm willing to create a non-profit tax-exempt organization for potential donors to get this financed every year with a pre-set up investment for the tools what we need and for the seedlings. And in case of improvement, depending on the size of the classes we have every year, then I would organize the kinds of the amount of seedlings and a couple of already 1 to 2 foot gallon bucket trees, fast growing trees, not fruits. They would need too much maintenance, but leaf trees, fast growing trees. Recommended by the National Arbor Foundation for this zone. It would be a zone here in Western Massachusetts. They have a recommendation for
hardiness, right? Yeah.
Several seedlings and trees would be considered. I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Norbert Johansen. We live in South Lee, and I get settled back here in this area, originally from Germany. Yeah, this is something I would like to do to support the local education program.
Great. As somebody who studied agriculture in college, I appreciate the want to make this a part of the curriculum for the students.
I have not seen the local location. So there will be 2 major questions. The first are the underground lines. The second are the lines above. I mean, the trees can grow up to 70 foot something in the future, like electricity, cell phone, telephone. I don't know how it's the infrastructure there.
Yeah, I don't think there is any infrastructure there.
It's a current agricultural field.
Yeah.
So
There's nothing going to be above the trees or below ground. I don't think nothing.
I don't think so.
Nothing that's going to be an issue. I don't think so.
There's 3 fields currently. 2 are leased out for haying. We have a 3-year lease that went out to bid. The third one was kind of left open for the Agricultural Commission had expressed interest in working with the community gardens. But this is like they're talking about. Norbert's plan is for about 1 acre. I think this area is probably at least 10 acres. So this would fit right in. Tree planting would fit in with the other uses in this particular part has been considered for. Nothing.
Right.
So it would be reforesting what's currently open space, or currently a hayfield, basically. So, and I believe the plan was not to be like a nursery, right? But just to let them grow into a forest.
Yeah.
So not that they would be out like,
Right.
a lot of maintenance involved there, but more of a reforesting
Great.
effort with an educational part to it.
Yeah.
To bring the kids out. The other thing would be is the question transportation, to bring them there and back. I don't know which time, is it during the school hours, after school hours, as you have to discuss them with Richard. And I don't know exactly about the insurance purposes also, and also bring the parents involved for potluck, yearly tree plant event, bring the kids with the parents together. It's also a social event or not, and
Yes,
Sure.
please.
If I could, have you thought about tying this in with Arbor Day and, the educational thing around Arbor Day? Because that's, once a year they do have Arbor Day in the spring where they're gonna they encourage planting trees everywhere. And so there's a lot of information here in Massachusetts about Arbor Day. And also, we have Berkshire, there's actually a Berkshire group, agricultural group, that actually sells seedlings in the spring and the fall. And, if you could tie up with them, and if they get 1,000, you might be able to get 1,100, or, just by tying on, getting a better price than just trying to go out and buy them yourself.
Yeah.
And they also vary from conifers to, deciduous, and as you said, you stay away from some of the other things, but,
Yeah, a National Arbor Foundation, I have already contacted.
great.
And they would, they gave me the dates between April 13 and June 12 is
right.
the spring.
Like a
they send
planting
out
time?
for planting, yeah, because we don't want to rush now in autumn
No.
here, and the spring after April 13 will be available, whatever we need.
I think Arbor Day's in April, right?
I don't know off the top of my
I
head,
feel like
yeah.
it is. I was trying to find out, but
But if
I
that,
can-
if
I
it
can
happens,
find out.
yeah, if it happens to sync up nice, that'd be great,
that'd
but
be
otherwise,
great.
yeah. Do you have an idea of how much funds you'd need to raise to do something like this, or is that sort of,
But first, I mean, this depends how many kids are involved every year in average. And I think it's a good idea to provide them at least with something like this, which they can wear
Sure.
for a longer time. And shirts, they grow up, and then the shirts are too small. Shirts are not cheap. And something like this would be nice. And the setup would be the seedlings, the plants, and the tools.
sure,
The tools is a one-time investment, and the seedlings, that would be then every year. And depending on the size, what we talk about, how many kids and what size of property we would be able to do, then we can figure out the cost would
yeah.
be,
So there's there's a few variables still.
yeah, variable cost, but I don't think that's a big amount of money, more than, I really don't know at the moment how much.
Well, we may already have the tools if the DPW could be involved. We might be able to, utilize what we already have to minimize the initial cost to do this.
It's also, and it might be interesting to think long-term that if you start a program like this, and I don't know what age groups you're aiming at, but it might be kind of fun to keep that in the back of everybody's mind up there at the school. And then when they're seniors, bring them back out on Arbor Day again, when the younger kids are planting, and when they can see, wow, I planted it this tall, and now it's, 10 feet tall.
Yeah.
Might be interesting, to tie into their education and what happens, and,
I'm glad to hear this. Richard recommended, he brought up this idea that then the next year, the 6th graders are parenting the 5th graders.
Yeah.
And the fast-growing trees, then you have something what they see,
Sure.
the quick result, what they do. Yeah.
Great.
well, might have a lot of oak tree little ones that we could give you that have sprouted up all around our property. And we'll put them in pots and give them back to you and let you plant them in the spring,
Yeah.
because we don't know where we're gonna put them all. So,
Anything else you want to add, Norbert, before?
So we talked about the involvement for the parents, the risk about online and cables and this stuff. And so, the focus is education on a yearly event. And I thank you for your time.
sure.
If you have further questions, I'm more than happy to answer this anytime.
Yeah, and it sounds like you've already done quite a bit of work in coordinating with Superintendent Richard and the school system, so I think hopefully this comes right along.
And don't forget the publicity factor. make it interesting for potential donors.
Yeah,
Agreed.
Yeah, and also, for example, to talk to Tony Dupont about the mulch,
Mhm.
yeah, and stuff like this. So,
yeah.
yeah, to bring this interesting for them.
There'll also be watering a little bit, not too much, but when you put those in at first, I know I've watered many a tree, transplant, put in hundreds of trees.
Yeah, well, in the
So-
beginning, the first years.
Yeah,
no
first year's
fertilizer-
critical.
No fertilizer at all.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Mulch them and water them, not very.
Yeah, and the
much.
smaller the tree, the quicker they establish actually too. So, you know, you'd be planting 1 gallon, you said,
Yeah,
kind of plant, yeah. So that'll help keep down the watering.
Yeah,
anyway,
exactly.
But you'll have to, yeah.
Part of the discussion was that would need purchasing like a poly tank to hold
Yeah.
water.
Don't we, who's doing the watering on the flowers?
That's contracted. by the
Okay, so
chamber,
it's not
yeah.
our DPW that owns that.
But we do have, the DPW does have a tank.
We
but
could always think
there-
about that.
Yeah, so,
If it becomes a
There's
school
ways, yeah.
project.
If they have funds to get a second one and we can, you know, that way
Yeah.
we're not taking one away from them or if they need it,
we
you
have a
know.
fire truck.
Yeah,
That's a little too much water. Yeah. Gotcha.
all right. Thanks,
Thank you
Norbert.
very much.
well, my pleasure.
Sounds like a great program. My wife will be very happy. She's always disturbed with all the trees that come down from the power company and all that stuff. She drives her crazy, so. So, I'm sure she'll be one of your biggest volunteers.
Yeah, and maybe we can work on some sort of publicity, you know, to help drum up some interest, you know.
Yes.
Good.
Great. All
Thank
right.
you.
Good enough.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on, we have a couple of appointments to consider next. Our first appointment is, to look at is Gail Cericia. Has shown interest in serving on the Conservation Commission. We have a resume and some projects that are relevant towards her experience in the conservation sort of field. So if one of you would like to make a motion, I would entertain it.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we appoint Gail Cerisa to the Conservation Commission.
I will second that.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I would just say, I think her resume is quite impressive for her background working with, you know, the Wetlands Protection Act. She's certainly well-grounded in it, and I think she'll bring a lot of really good procedural information to the board. It looks good, looks very good.
You know, echo what Gordon has said and just say that Gail's been active in town affairs for many, many years now. She's always stepping up, so I'm very pleased to have her on the Concom.
With that, if there's nothing further, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Our next appointment is a bit of an odd one, but we have a non-resident interested in serving on the Parks and Rec Committee as a alternate associate member. We've done this a time or two in the past, so I don't have any initial misgivings about it. This individual, Emily Silver, grew up in Lee, has moved to Pittsfield, and now just wants to be involved, and sent us a letter and a resume as well. So if there's any discussion, or if either of you would like to make a motion, feel free.
Yeah, I'll
Or
make the
Chris,
motion.
do you?
I just want to say, what was interesting is she had mentioned specifically her dog experience.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, yeah, no, I think the facts that she grew up here, graduated from Lehigh, and she wanted to return here, but she can't afford it. She
Right.
can't afford to buy a place here. So she had to be in Pittsfield, so her heart is here. And I think with that in mind, I would make the motion to appoint Emily Silver as an associate member, alternate member, whichever way we need to voice it, for the Parks and Recreational Committee.
I will second that.
Have a motion and a second. Discussion?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, I think we've done it as, there's a difference, so the associate member is, would be a non-voting, non-resident
Correct.
member
Right.
versus the alternate, which in the case of somebody missing would come in as a voting member. So I'm not saying which way to go, but just the
This-
difference between,
yeah.
typically non-residents have been associate
And
members.
I would amend the motion to be specific to associate, which complies with things for our other committees. I know we
Right.
have associates on other committees, so I would make it the associate.
I will second it with that amendment.
Okay. Any further discussion on the appointment? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Our next order of business, we have a one-day alcohol license from Berkshire Cider. This is the Cheese Guild. They do their annual cheese festival up at Highland Farm. Do we have anybody here that would like to speak to this, or, I don't have any issue with, the application. It's pretty standard, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. is the event on September 28th. They have tip certifications, and it's all signed off by everybody else except for us, so I would entertain a motion to approve.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the application for the one-day alcoholic beverage license for Berkshire Cider.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Anything further on the Berkshire Cider one-day alcohol license? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, and the next and last order of business, I actually. I don't
Do we have that?
Yeah, I don't have the actual document, Chris, if you have it, but this is a yearly, agreement that we sign with the school.
Yeah,
I think she wasn't sure if it was gonna be ready.
yeah, so we are gonna have to table that. The
That's fine.
person working on
That's
it
what I thought.
has been out sick, so she wasn't able to finish, so we'll table it till the next meeting, or you can table it till the next meeting.
And so we shall, because we don't have an actual document, but it's pretty standard every year. There's some overlap. What is it? Just overlap in the personnel?
Yeah, it's just,
The
this,
accounting for where they spend their time, right?
yeah, the school has to submit a yearly report. It's not due yet, so we have
Right.
plenty of time, but it basically just states, like, that, for example, I am estimated to spend 3% of my time on school matter, and the accountant might be 10% and so forth, and it's just something that, the school, needs to report to the Department of Education, so.
Excellent.
All right, so that's the end of our general business, and that brings me to any topic the chair could not anticipate. And I'll bounce it back to you, Kathy, as I guess I usually can anticipate your public comment, but since you have something to say and you missed your opportunity earlier, if you'd like to speak now, please.
Thank you. All right, so I'm Kathy Hall, and on behalf of the new chairperson of the Lee Youth Commission, Annie Lee, the Lee Youth Commission wants to remind everyone that Founders Weekend is this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The Lee Youth Commission activities begin on Saturday at the Lee Athletic Field, directly after the parade, and will continue until 3 p.m. Thank you.
Right.
And thank you for letting me get this in. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Do either of you have anything else you'd like to add at this
I do
point?
not, sir.
I'm sure Chris is gonna give us a detailed report.
All right, so a couple things to announce. We did put a text blast out and an e-blast, but there'll be multiple streets being paved in South Lee, mostly around the Oak and Spruce area, Beartown Mountain Road area. That's going to happen from the 17th to the 19th, so there will be some road closures during that time. Speaking of road closures, as most people know, Founders Day is this weekend, so Main Street will be closed for Taste of Lee on Friday night, and then in the morning on Saturday for the parade. And also won't necessarily be closed, but we'll be having lane closures on tomorrow night to repaint the crosswalks before that.
Isn't that kind of in the middle, not in the middle of the night, but that's pretty late.
Yeah, it goes from 8 p.m. to 2 p.m.,
That's
or
right,
2 a.m.,
2 a.m.
sorry, yeah. And They will start working on paving at 7 a.m. in South Lee. So it's the Pine Street, Meadow Street area.
What time's the parade? 10 o'clock typical,
Yep.
right?
Yes,
Yeah.
parade at 10, Taste of Lee 5 to 8, 8 o'clock fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sunday will be the dog parade, duck race, and some other events going on at the athletic field. And I believe all the board members will be marching.
I
Per
believe-
usual.
I believe so.
Are we,
Has everybody done their candy shopping?
No,
yet.
I was waiting for sales and there aren't any, so.
but the big
Oh, wow.
question, Sean, ties or no ties?
Ties or no ties? That is the big question.
I have been told that, well, it was recommended to me by a town person that for hometown parade, don't wear ties, just,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
don't wear
I
ties.
was
Wear ties
gonna-
for Memorial Day. and
Memorial
all that
Day parade.
But
There's
not
two
for-
parades that
yeah.
we do yearly, the
Right.
Memorial Day and the Founder's Day parade, so
stuff. Right,
no ties.
This is no tie, all right.
okay, well, I will not show up with a tie.
I'll have a clean shirt.
Would you?
The other thing I wanted to mention was our tax collector will be holding an auction on September 30th. Or she'll be facilitating it. We have an auction company doing it. And these are all tax title takings. So there's 6 parcels that are on there. It's going to be September 30th at 11 o'clock in this room at Town Hall. And there's information on the website and flyers that's available. They look like this. They're in the collector's office and down in the main entrance to Town Hall with more information, so.
Great.
Lastly, the EPA put out a message that they were going to start road evaluation, so I just wanted to mention to the board and any residents listening, there will be some sort of strange-looking vans driving around with cameras and so forth on it, and they're going to be taking a assessment of the roads that will be used during the Rest of River project. Most of the Lee roads that are going to be used are the ones right near the UDF site in the Woodland Road area. More importantly, there are roads that will be checked that are not going to be used.
Right.
And those are for sort of baseline testing or comparison testing. So one of those, Graylock Street, for example, is not proposed to be used for any transportation, construction. However, they will be assessing that road to compare it to other roads, saying, well, if we didn't use Graylock and it looks like this, but we did use Woodland Road and it looks like this, so it looks worse, so we know we did damage with trucks for the PCB cleanup. So it's just, I don't want to alarm people. If you see that truck, doesn't mean that's part of the transportation plan. It could be used as a road to get background data. And the information is all available online, the maps and everything. So it's they're color coded to show what's going to be used for baseline data and what's going to be used for actual transport.
Is that on the EPA side?
Correct, yeah. Yeah. And the transportation stuff is on the town website too, the latest round of transportation plans, so. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Chris. And our next regular meeting is October 7th, 2025. Anyone like to move to adjourn?
Go for it.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.